Hi everyone, welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. As always, I hope you had a wonderful week. I want to talk to you about two interesting points in this week's parsha. I'll try to put them together. In this week's parsha, Parshas Vayaishev, so Joseph, who is Jacob's son, got sent as a slave down to Egypt. Fast forward a little bit through the story, he is now deep in the dungeons of the prisons over there. And as we mentioned before, and he sees two people and he asks them why they were sad. We spoke about last year, a couple years ago, that just asking somebody how sad they were could bring them up to greatness. But initially he said to them, tell me your dreams and I can interpret it. Now, we have to imagine what they may have said back to Joseph. Well, who are you? Why in the world should we tell you our dreams so you should interpret? Who are you? And Joseph's response to them was, Hashem has many messengers. Maybe Hashem will let me help you. Meaning, don't look at me of who I am and think that I'm a nobody. I could be a somebody. You never know. A person does. It's not only people who are on the outside, they look good. Everybody has a soul. Everybody has a certain self-value. We have to, Joseph certainly had a self-awareness of what he was able to do. And so therefore he said, tell them to me. And he was actually able to interpret it for them favorably. Now, there's another point I want to share with you, which is a very interesting statement that our sages make. To rewind in this story, when Joseph's brothers sold him, first they threw him into a pit. And the oldest of the brother, Reuven, he wanted to save him. And the Torah actually tells us that he said, let's not kill our brother, but rather we'll try, and actually try to save him. And our Chazal make a statement, our sages make a statement, that had Reuven known that the Torah later would have recorded that he actually tried to save Reuven, he would have rushed into the pit, put Joseph on his shoulders, and carried him home to his father. So the question is, what does that mean that had he known? Reuven knew that everything that he does is being recorded. As a matter of fact, we found a similar idea when Boaz gave meat and other food to Ruth to eat. So it said that had he known that the Torah would have said that he gave Ruth to eat, he would have given her an entire feast that she should eat. And he also knew that everything is being recorded, even it's not necessarily in a book of a chumash per se, but he knew that everything was being recorded. So what was this idea that had they both known that they would have done it even with more gusto? And so Baron Cutler explains, I saw this in a Peninim book from, I forgot who wrote it, Rabbi Newstat. He says in the name of Baron Cutler that it wasn't that they didn't know that their act could be a great act. What their problem was is that they didn't have any self-awareness of their greatness. Reuven thought, who am I? Big deal. I'm a nobody that Hashem would record me in his Torah, my act, what I would do. And therefore, had he known that it was actually recorded, he certainly would have done it with even greater alacrity and greater excitement and greater gusto. But the problem is that he viewed himself as not being somebody that was worthy that he would make it into the Torah. Joseph knew that he would make it into the Torah, and he knew that he was a man of God. And he said, tell me your dreams, I can interpret it for you. Reuven and Boaz said, who are we? We're nobody. And so therefore we have to be kind of more to Joseph, and we have to realize that Hashem is recording everything. And as we mentioned before, in the future, there'll be a certain future chumash, meaning Hashem has wrote down everything in the Torah of our lives, and Hashem's going to show us everything. And every mitzvah that we do, we should do with great gusto, not just because of the mitzvah aspect of it, but rather because we should realize the greatness that we have inside ourselves, and that Hashem cherishes every single act that we do. And to the contrary as well, every sin that we do is incredibly bad because of how great we are. Hashem wants the best out of us, and we all have it deep inside of us. And no matter our situation, you can even be deep in a dungeon. You can be in the dungeon of life. Nevertheless, Hashem thinks that you count. So make everything count and be more like Joseph and not like Boaz. Everybody has incredible value. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos, and have a wonderful, wonderful Hanukkah. Light up the nights. Shabbos.